Have you ever been trying to do some analysis at the end of a season, looking at the team and player detailed stats for the league that you're managing in, and thinking to yourself, I wish there were more things available in these menus? Well, it turns out there actually is, and this blew my goddamn mind. So, I don't want to waste too much of your time here, but I felt that this was worth making a video on because, as I said, it blew my damn mind. So there we were on stream yesterday, just doing our thing, looking through some player stats, and someone, Lewis from the chat, big shout out to him, pointed out something rather interesting on the stats analysis screen. And of course, if you do want to catch the streams, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you know the drill. If you enjoy the video, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, all that jazz. Right, so let's exactly see what happens. So on these screens, at the end of a season, or during a season as well, to be fair, you can sort of go through, look at the stats for the various leagues that you might be in. Obviously, I'm not playing in the Bundesliga. I'm using this as an example so that it doesn't like spoil stuff from my other saves, because Tromsø's in the off-season of the current situation. So you see this sort of information, and yeah, you got access to some cool stuff. You can see things like, you know, goals per game, expected goals for, 90s quite a lot, Bayern, holy crap, and general stuff like that. And that's nice information that is nice to have, but I do always feel like I wish there was more. Well, there is. Now, some of you may fully be aware of this, but it was something that was brand new to me, and when it was pointed out on stream, people were like losing their minds over it. So, you'll notice down here on the normal team overview screen, there's all these different boxes, and I normally ignore these because I find that they don't give you a lot of information. However, what I didn't realize, or rather assumed but didn't really assume it would be that big of a deal, is that these drop downs would give you, slightly different ones. What I didn't realize, of course, is that it gives you access to an insane amount. I'm still scrolling. There must be about 4 or 5 times as many different things in here that you would have thought you could access. Things like, for example, expected points. You know that graph you get sometimes through from an analysis report at the end of the season? Tells you how many expected points you were going to get. Turns out, you can look at that at any time you like. And you might be thinking, okay, sure, but that only shows the top 6. Except it doesn't. Because if you click on it here, boom, suddenly we're back in the team's stats detailed menu, except we now have access to this. Incongruously. It's not listed here. But would you believe, it all shows up exactly how you would expect it to. And every single one of these different things that are on these drop-downs can be accessed in exactly the same way. And some of them are granular as hell. Expected goals to shot ratio. What? Yeah. Just little things like this that are not on these menus, and I had no idea that you could access them at all, are suddenly just available at the touch of a fingertip. Now, if you click off of this, you then won't be able to find it, and you'll have to go back through here, and this does have a habit of resetting itself quite regularly. But the point is, this stuff is all there, and I had no idea you could access it. So every single one of these has a corresponding menu like I just showed you, essentially. I'm trying to find another really niche one, but you kind of get my point. Like, any single one of these, now obviously some of them are available in the default thingy, but also a lot of them aren't. And it's just that little bit of extra depth that you can use when building up tactical ideas, doing analysis at the end of a season. And I know the next question you're going to ask is, does this work for player stats? Oh, yes, it does. So the exact same thing can be achieved on the player version of that. So exactly, if anything, this one's more important, I find, when doing analysis. So once again, we can go in here, and there's a brilliant one, which I feel like is missing from almost every other menu, which is, and I'll just find it for you, expected goals per 90 minutes. Not expected goals overall, but the actual ratio of expected goals per 90 minutes for your players, or any players in your league. Now, obviously, it only shows the top 20 in here, which is fine, but it still gives you an idea of who really is performing the way that they might well be. And this sort of stuff is just like mind-blowing to me because I didn't have any clue that this stuff was in the game or accessible on these kinds of menus, and I wish I'd known this earlier. Now, you'll have to ignore some of the secondary and tertiary stats that come along with it. I believe that's because these are essentially aping on other versions of these, and they just sort of overwrite them, so you don't really get decent contextual stats to go alongside it, because you'd expect this to have like shots or goals there, but I think it's because these were never meant to be shown, in theory, on this type of menu. But regardless, you can access it. To give you an idea, expected goals per 90 minutes isn't even available as a chalkboard stat as far as I'm aware. So when I build my analysis views, I can show expected goals for my players on like the player views, but I can't show expected goals per 90 minutes. And I swear it was in there at one point, but I might be wrong. But regardless, it's not there, but you can actually access it. So honestly, I just wanted to make a quick video to tell you that this stuff is in the game. And I'm sure some of you already know about this, but for those of you that didn't, hey, it's a brand new dawn. I love finding a new menu, and this is just a whole host of them. I'd argue that there's probably 4 or 5 times as many different stats that you can access through these menus than are actually displayed on the left-hand side here, which, hey, maybe that just gives you the little leg up you need when you're doing your next sort of analysis. But even if it doesn't, hey, it's there and you now know it. So if this video has been useful to you, of course, drop a like on the video. Come over and check out the streams where we find out stuff like this occasionally and then lose our damn minds over it. If not, fancy subscribing to the channel for occasional content like this, where I try to find stuff that I think is useful and put it out to you guys as well. So do that too. And I'll see you guys in a prompt video coming up very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.